You know you didn't say good morning, ladies and gentlemen, for this one.
I didn't.
First video ever. Good morning.
Oh, I was busy doing stuff. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dean Callan Show. This is the first time I've ever forgotten to say good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dean Callan Show, and you're seeing the end of the video at the beginning.
Nice. All right, cool.
Marco laughed. That means it made it into the edit.
Absolutely.
That's how we do things here.
Pretty much.
It's really the Marco No Show, because Marco is the guy that says no.
Yeah, turn it up in the headphones.
Right.
Yeah, shit whack.
So, let's talk about vodka. You know, I used to be a brand ambassador for vodka.
I'd heard that.
Man, I used to drink all the vodka. I had a special trick. We used to do the 42 Below World Cup, kind of all 42 Below training sessions. And Jacob Breyer's genius, right? You pour the 42 Below shots first, right? So you pour all the 42 Below, you give them a little time to breathe.
Yeah.
And then when you're actually doing the training session, you know, the 42 Below is poured first and it's given some time. And then when you're about to give everyone a taste of Absolute or whatever, you're talking Absolute up, you know, Absolute's amazing, and you pour it just before they taste it, and they're comparing it to the, you know, 20-minute sat and open air 42 Below, and it's 42 Below is like viscous and it's like drinking water, and then the Absolute, because it's fresh, has a bit more kind of bite to it, and everyone's like, wow, 42 Below is amazing, and you're like, yep. That I followed that through with my whiskey tastings later on. So we didn't do comparative tastings with Monkey Shoulder, but I definitely let them breathe for a little bit.
That's good.
I talk about Absolute actually quite a bit because it's
Well, it set a standard, didn't it?
changed brands forever, didn't it?
Yeah, Andy Warhol and Andrew Warholer.
Yeah.
Getting people involved.
But they
good
did
marketing.
such a good job of the marketing that they make everyone think the vodka is meant to be completely pure and absolutely pure.
Yeah, that's a difficult one actually. I think I was discussing this recently. But the thing is, right, if you don't pay any attention to what you're drinking it in a nightclub environment, you're having shots, then you're not going to taste anything, whether it's whiskey or vodka, you're not going to taste subtle nuances. Yeah, so when you do trainings, you're actually giving people, they do comparative tastings of the two different...
Yeah.
What are the differences?
So, like, one of the things I talk about, Dean, is in the UK specifically, and probably parts of America, you know America better than I will, but we drink vodka pretty badly.
I think we drink everything pretty badly.
Yeah, yeah, but I think vodka's probably the worst.
It's been overlooked largely for a long time.
Because we expect it to be colourless or flavourless or odourless. But
The American definition.
yeah, and because of that, we then, you know, bartenders especially, and myself included, we don't give it any respect. We just think it's something that's going to get chucked in. For me, I was learning TGI Friday cocktails. You know, I was putting. I'm almost embarrassed to say, but I was putting fucking. The way we were taught to make a Mai Tai first was with grenadine in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was fucking hellish.
But there's no shame in learning things the wrong way and then advancing yourself as you learn more.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just when you stick to your guns and refuse to learn new tricks.
I agree with 100%. But our vodka cocktails, you know, you're not going to taste the vodka in them. No. And I know the guys that were on the bar first were, you know, basically taught me that vodka should be overlooked because it's not going to taste of anything anyway. So, do you know what I mean? It was a spirit that I came kind of last to, and after I'd been through all the other spirits. Because if you're like me, you kind of go through this sort of spell where, you know, you do tequila for a while, and you learn loads about tequila, and then you do rum.
You move on to the, yeah. I've done that. I've forgotten more than I can remember. I want to start putting little quotes. So, you know, that people do inspirational quotes. I just want to be like, Uni Blanc is the #1 grape used in eau de vie production for cognac. You know, and just because.
Or like Maduri is the vermouth of our time. I stole that from Ben Murdoch. I can't take credit for that.
Yeah, inspirational quotes.
I get it,
So when you say that we're drinking it wrong, how do you drink it right?
So the light bulb moment for me was reading a Dave Broom book where he talks about quality vodka and what quality vodka is about, and I never realised what it was until I read the sentence in his book. And he talks about this paradox of purity or character, and that's what quality vodka is. You should be able to tell what the raw material is. Yeah, it's got to be clear, and yeah, it's got to be pure to a certain extent, but you should be able to taste the difference in quality vodkas, because they're not distilled out of all recognition. They don't go through multi-fractional compound distillation. Do you know what I mean? there's still character in the purity, and that's cool. That's kind of the paradox, really, that is difficult for people to understand.
You just need to take the time to actually sit and.
I find it really difficult to smell the difference with vodka. It's all to do with taste, and that's creamy, buttery, oily, and you'll get vanillins out of it because we use an eating grade sweet corn. So I had to do a couple of videos for this, and we talk about this eating grade sweet corn because we actually make it out of corn that's designed to be eaten,
rather than like the maize feed stuff.
Exactly, rather than the cattle feed stuff. And the guy who was editing the video, because I'm Scottish and because people never understand a word that I'm saying, especially not when I've had a drink.
We're going to put some subtitles in.
You're going to need to.
For our Chinese audience.
I remember doing a training session in fucking Hungary and Budapest, and we were back and forward with the distributor, and I was like emailing him saying, do you think we should get a translator? And Tibor was like, no, it'll be completely fine, I speak English. I was like, man, I'm Scottish.
I don't speak English.
Oh no, Chris, it'll be fine, it'll be totally cool. And I did this fucking thing in front of about 30 Hungarian bartenders. First time I've been in Budapest, first time I've been in Hungary. And I knew I was in trouble because when I met Tibor, because he picked me up from the airport, when I met him and I said, hello, how you doing? He was just like, total blank. No. And you could see in his face, he was like, fuck, I've made a terrible mistake. So I'm trying to talk to this fucking room of Hungarian bartenders, and the one guy that's meant to be translating can't even understand me. So
oh no,
I had to go and do fucking media training so that I was a little bit more enunciated, you know, so that people.
I've spent my whole life practicing losing my accent.
Like,
I can tell. That's why I brought it up.
I constantly, but you know what? One time, I did a presentation on whiskey at the Shanghai Whiskey Live in 2009, I think it was. And
so that'll be even worse than Hungarians.
They told me that I had to bring a translator.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that people don't realize is that most of the people that were going to be at that Whiskey Live were going to be French people who are expats who want to get the free whiskey to drink, right? There were going to be, I knew there were going to be more expats there than there were going to be Chinese nationals, right? So I brought a French guy to translate what I was saying into French.
Smart.
And the French guy but this is the funny thing. The French guy translated into French. And then the Chinese guy was translating into Chinese.
From French.
But from English.
Right. So you had two translators.
Yeah, but the Chinese guy was reading a script, which was the correct information.
Yeah.
I was standing there being like, so this cocktail, it's called the kangaroo cocktail, was invented by what was it? So one guy that could speak English and knew the facts was cracking up. His name was Lee Linford. He thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I got it on camera somewhere, and I was like, this cocktail was invented by Raymond Bowman Gant. Now, he was a bartender known as Trader Vic, and he worked under Don the Beachcomber. Now, Don the Beachcomber owned like all of Trader Vic's all across the US, and like they both were tiki people, but Raymond Bowman Gant, his nickname was Don the Beachcomber, not Trader Vic, and Don didn't own the Trader Vic's. So if you know the information, you're just like, what the fuck? Yeah. And the guy was reading the correct information. So the Chinese were getting the real information, and the French guy was like, and then this was invented by Jay-Z. And like he was, and you can hear him saying Jay-Z and shit, like, and he's telling them completely made up stuff. And to me, it was the most genius thing ever. But no one, Lee Linford Lee, if you're watching this, yeah, comment, because he's the only person that watched it and thought it was hilarious. The rest of the room, the French guys, the best part was the French guys were like, because I was telling them that the flavor of peat comes from the water that runs over heather fields that have been burnt, and that's that smoky flavor. And they're like, they're agreeing, you know, and commenting and stuff. And you're like, I was like, you're fucking full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, and I told them that, what was it, Aberlour, I think it was? No, Aberfeldy. It was one of those. I told him, I think it was Aberlour. I told him Aberlour was the most heavily peated whiskey in Scotland and all this sort of stuff, and they were agreeing with me. It was bullshit.
So both of us.
Back to what we were talking about.
Both of us go on massive tangents. I can see that already.
And we're gonna definitely need translation for that.
Yeah.
So Dean Callan show on translation.
So that was
separate episode.
So eating grade sweet corn for the original, right? And one of these videos, I was like looking at the kind of final edits of it, and the guy who was editing it, who's fucking English by the way, and this is the start of the year, put as the subtitles "eating great sweet corn." And at that point I was like, shit, maybe I need to do something about my accent if I'm going to be talking to people about booze. And I'm a Scotsman selling, working for a fucking Canadian vodka brand, which makes no sense.
And technical issues.
Okay, great.
Okay, we're back.
Do that, that'd be funny.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Do that, that'd be funny.
Dun, 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 dun.
Did you get the eating great sweet corn shit? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Mate,
So-
got it great.
Moment.
So that was the moment where I was like, right, if this English dude thinks I'm saying eating great sweet corn instead of eating great sweet corn, then what the fuck have what chance have the Hungarians got?
He might have paid someone else to do subtitles.
Even then, the guy who works with them's English too. So I was like, at that point, I was like, maybe I need to try and tone my accent down slightly. And Scotsman working for a Canadian vodka brand makes fucking.
So I've read that the reason for the skull is because of the American heritage.
Mesoamerican, yeah.
So it's like this sort of thing. Like we'd be very accustomed to seeing something like that in mezcal.
Well, this is Ka, right? Is this Ka?
No, it is Syriaco.
Okay. We actually successfully sued a company that's got a very similar skull to this.
Well, you might need to sue these guys as well. Don't.
Ed, if you're watching.
Mate, it's going to be here the whole time.
So no, you're right. Mesoamerican.
But maybe they're just recycling. No, they're not. No, it's a different,
It's
slightly different.
isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a bit more.
But
It's less realistic. That looks like a bit monkeyish.
Does a bit. But I suppose that's probably what they're going for, because that was quite a kind of Mayan sort of skull. Yeah, the hard.
Not the Mayan people, mind you.
Yeah. I was like, oh god.
he meant it's more the design that they use.
So the best,
Eating great corn.
the best thing and the worst thing about this vodka is the skull, because people know, and if people know who one of the owners is, who's Dan Aykroyd, obviously. I know we've talked about this before, so you know. So
Yeah, I know.
Dan's
From The Big Lebowski, right?
exactly. Dan's obviously an actor. People and it's in a skull, so people quite often they jump to the wrong conclusions that an actor's
It has
involved.
something to do with death and ghost and Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and also that because it's not going to, they don't take the liquid seriously because it's in that, right? But there's layers to it you kind of need to peel, and something that I've been telling a lot of people for a long time that they didn't realise is Dan for 25 years has had a successful distribution company.
Yeah. He's worked in booze for a long time.
A long
right?
time, yeah. He's not an actor. He's
He knows
just
what
one of
he's
those
doing.
guys that's good at everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Comedian.
Comedian, actor, musician, playwright, and also
Yeah, he's a musician as well.
killer, man. He's played at Blues Kitchen a couple of times. He's been killer. But anyway, so they make that wrong they jump to that wrong conclusion. An actor's involved. It's in a skull. The liquid must be shit. And it's not. The hardest part is kind of breaking down that barrier to get people to try it. And then, like I said, 25 years ago, Dan's company took Patron Spirits to North America. So he's been successful and he's all right.
Sure.
So we wanted to produce a quintessentially North American vodka. That was the idea. So hence the Mesoamerican sort of skull.
Yeah.
And then hence the use of this great sweet corn.
Great
Sweet corn.
great eating grade.
Eating great. Yeah, it's peaches and cream corn. So it's a indigenous to North America. It's one of their crop. And
And what's the difference between just quick question? So this is the skull represents the heritage, North American.
Yes. So what would happen is Mayan or shaman from a tribe would have either a stone, like quite often a quartz stone that was part of their sort of their spirituality and power, and then they would also have skulls. So they're called Mitchell Hedges skulls, and they're made from quartz. So some of them are in the Smithsonian Museum. They've carbon dated them to like 3,000 or 4,000 years old, and the story or the legend goes that the shaman or the spiritual guide for the tribe would, when he was ready to move on to the next life, he would impart all of his knowledge and power into the skull.
Okay.
And then he would give it to the guy who was going to take his place, and that guy would then receive all of his enlightenment and power and
And it
spirituality
passes on down throughout
generation to generation. Exactly. So that's where it comes from. But they wanted to do that. They wanted to do it in a contemporary style of vodka. So corn was a very unusual choice, mostly because it's expensive to make vodka out of. And then they wanted to do it without additives, without glycerol, without oils, without cheating. And they wanted to do this thing that I'm talking about, which is a paradox of flavour. They wanted to retain the qualities of the raw material.
But still have the clarity.
Yeah, but still have the pure.
So what's the difference, quickly, between this and this? Before I get distracted, because I'm thinking about hard drives now.
Well, this one is original. This is 10 years old. This one's Aurora. So it's made in St John's in Newfoundland, which is just outside the Arctic Circle. And I was there in February. It's fucking stunning. It's the land.
So that represents Aurora Borealis.
Exactly. Okay. So you can see, because you can see at the right time of year and the right conditions, you can see the northern lights from where Crystal Head's made, where it's produced.
So if you go there and you're on mushrooms and you're holding just the normal bottle,
Exactly.
looks like that.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah, not that I'd know.
Social responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Cut that bit out.
Yeah,
Extended blooper reel.
So this is 2 years old. This is a contemporary style of a classic style of vodka.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's made from wheat. So classically, vodka is one of the bread grains. It's made from wheat, barley, rye. The countries that kind of are the godfathers, if you like, of vodka are Russia, Poland, and then the Scandics, and they made it with what was around them, what was available to them, which was wheat, barley, and rye.
Very nice.
And we made this out of wheat. Dan traced his lineage back to Yorkshire. We use Yorkshire wheat for this because we wanted to produce in the vodka world. These two are polar opposite. If you try this, one. You've got to taste it.
Yeah. We can do a comparison.
This one is.
Right, I'm going to top this one up. Intermittent fasting tasting. Heightened senses.
Great crack. So this one is wheat. So the first thing you're going to notice is how much quicker your mouth dries off, and then instead of the kind of vanillin you get from the original, you get white pepper, you get anise, and then you get the kind of derivatives of anise. But instantly, it's a much drier, crisper.
You're getting a licoricey.
Precisely, licorice, yeah.
I wonder where that comes from.
It's mad, isn't it? A lot of it's to do with the yeast. The yeast is so important to take the right sort of congeners out, because congeners in vodka production are called impurities, and congeners in whiskey production are the things that they fucking want. And same with rum production. You know what I mean? It's the same thing, but it's almost harder to isolate the congener that you want out of vodka than it is to have.
The congeners are the esters.
Congeners are just the name that we give for all the shit, the aldehydes, the acetaldehydes, the acetic acid, anything that we perceive as a flavour. They just lump all that shit together as a congener. But to pull the one that you want out of the crop using the yeast and then distilling it at the right time is almost.
The aftertaste is very different on that one.
Massively, yeah. That's where the skill is, and that's something that I've only really realised the last few years. That if you want,
I think the problem that vodka's going through at the moment is the marketing has been so. Like, when I think of vodka now, I think of parties, clubs, like mix it with anything.
Fast paced. Like
you're talking about like lifestyle.
The lifestyle brands.
Almost what's cool.
They're effectively lifestyle brands.
Yeah, 100%.
And the more if I was to compare whiskey and vodka's I'm on a boat, and whiskey is like a trad band. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know,
Like,
but
in my mind.
also there's the age statement too for consumers. That's so important, and you can make bad whiskey and age it for fucking 15 years. Do you know what I mean? But do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But a consumer can latch onto that and go, right, well, that's been in a barrel for 15 years, and then they can sort of perceive that to then be quality. How you sit down and spend time with a consumer and explain to them what the difference is with vodkas is really, you need to have an understanding of booze really. To
me, the first time I've seen a large commercial vodka brand do something that I went, okay, that's a very different brief to what I've seen people doing in the past. Was well, I don't see as much as I should, but Grey Goose doing have you seen Dave Chappelle? Honestly, Grey Goose sponsors some video stuff, and they've got Jamie Foxx interviewing people.
I saw Jamie Foxx doing
but
some
they've
stuff,
got one, I can't remember the lady's name, but she's written like 12, 13 books. Like Dave Chappelle says, she's probably written more books than I've read. And she's a big influential thinker. And Dave Chappelle's sitting down having a chat with her, and Grey Goose sponsored that.
Yeah.
and made a video out of it. And honestly, watching it, like I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Yeah. It's so culturally important. And I know booze brands are kind of like, you know, big corporate booze brands are your big enemy to some people, but watching that video, that wouldn't have happened if it didn't get sponsorship. Like, we know how the world works. Yeah. And for them to sponsor things that they feel are culturally important, it demonstrates the shift from the I'm on a boat kind of party scene to trying to touch people who are driven by culture.
Maybe a bit more substance.
More substance, a lot more substance. If you watch it, you'll see.
Yeah, no, I will. I'll check it out.
And this as well, this represents, like, for Dan Aykroyd, it's an actor and it's in a skull, right? You said that there are two positives, but at the same time negatives.
Yeah, 100%.
But when you read into it, and that might just take time for people to recognize it, there's a lot of depth and a lot of culture and a lot of character to it.
Yeah.
And that culture plays back to this, because if you taste that mezcal's delicious. Yeah. And when at first it just looks like a gimmick because it's got little beads on it and it's in a skull. Yeah. You know, if it was in what we perceive to be a luxury bottle, it would have been taken very, very differently.
I think part of it is because these bottles are so unusual because they're so expensive, and usually when you spend that
cost
much,
of goods.
usually when you spend that much money on the bottle design. One of the guys that we work with is a guy called Mike, who's like an encyclopedia for knowledge for booze. He's worked in the industry for 40 years. I didn't really understand glass. 40. I didn't really understand glass production, and I was chatting to him about the bottle, and he was telling me how it works. You know, have you ever?
You got the two sides and the two metal plates come together?
But it's to do with controlling the rate that the glass cools at. And then after that is cooled, because you're dealing with thousands of degrees molten glass essentially. When the rate that it cools at is the skill in it. And why the mould is, I mean, the mould is obviously proprietary to us. Yeah. But that, have you ever been working a busy shift Friday, Saturday night or something on the bar, and then someone's ordered the cocktail in the Catalina, and the only Catalina glass you've got is in the glass washer, and you've put ice on the top of it, and the bottom's come up.
Totally.
Thermal shock.
Well, even this, having to temper the ice now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. It's temperature and it's glass and ice are actually, you know, they're structurally
kind of similar. Yeah.
Kind of similar. Yeah. They
both do this.
Both lattices. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Both lattices. And they have structure in their kind of their sort of chemical makeup. So that's why this has got a big fucking bit at the bottom, because it's controlling the rate that it chills at.
Oh, I see.
And this.
And does it some fall back down?
No, it just dries. It just dries at the right rate, and that's the skill. This bottle took 2 years and millions of pounds to develop. And usually, when you do that, you have no money to spend on the liquid after that because you know it's
Dan Aykroyd, right? He saved up.
We're fortunately in a very lucky position where like they do a lot of things that probably don't make that much financial sense, but they make fucking delicious vodka, and it's cool.
And when you're doing things out of pure passion, then passionate people become friends, and they stay lifelong.
Exactly. And the money's less important because that's what he's passionate about. We're going to talk about this in a different episode.
Okay. We'll cut this into 2.
Yeah, but we're going to make a quick drink with this, which is Aurora, which has been infused with coffee beans.
Okay. And the infusion you want to talk about it another time. So, tune back into the Dean Callan Show at a different time, and you'll find out what this means. Just like and subscribe. First time I've said that? Is that the first time I've said
that? Needs like
that's the first time you said
needs like a ting after it. Do you know what I mean? Like
just like and subscribe.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Like a ting.
It's gonna get edited out. We're gonna be like, we hate on the like and subscribe.
Yeah, but you can do it as
feels like you're selling something.
Do it as a joke, piss take, like a.
I don't think so.
Am I okay? So what am I doing here?
So
like,
strain the coffee beans out, and then make a martini 50-50 with this, and like a lemon peel.
50-50.
Yeah.
Okay, and lemon peel.
Lemon peel or an orange peel if you prefer.
And it was Aurora to begin with.
So that's Aurora that's been infused with coffee beans.
With coffee beans in a very special way.
Tune into a different Dean Callan show for details on how to do that.
We'll talk. Well, it's basically we're going to be talking sonic prep hack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sonic prep hack.
Ultrasonic stuff.
Such clickbaity goodness.
Sonic prep hack. Do you want one as well? Should we do 2?
Yeah, let's do 2 now.
Let's do 2. Man, that really did get the coffee flavour out, didn't it?
There,
You can smell it.
Yeah. I think you probably.
You can really smell it.
Probably put too many beans in, man, to be honest. But...
Well, I don't know how this works. You know, I'm new to this.
Whoa, what's that?
If you think it's too much, I can measure out one part of this and we can put one part Aurora back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? Or do we go hella coffee?
Man, let's make one and see what that tastes like.
All right,
and
then we'll make another one. Yeah, we can share.
We can always dial down the coffee.
Oh, there we go, jiggers. So it's one part of each, yeah?
One and one, bro, yeah.
One and one. Oh no, I'm gonna do one big one. All right. And do you have a name for this? Now that I'm learning it. Or is it just something?
Yeah, but it's not. It's it's work in progress because I only.
Okay, that's a great name for a cocktail.
Why don't we just call it that? Work in progress.
Work in progress.
No, it's like a white cacao and coffee espresso martini, and white cacao espresso martini.
White cacao espresso martini.
But like I said, it's a work in progress. It's a shit name.
The more you want to get attention to your cocktail, the more I would just like use Starbucks names. Get sued. Mega mochaccino and maca latte, whatever they use.
Yeah, well, you can.
I'll put that. I'll put all those tags in the show, and see how many people get triggered. And there were no bitters or anything.
No, man, just one and one. I don't think you need anything else. Just one and one. And then.
How cold do we want it?
Sub-zero, bro.
Sub-zero. Okay, hold on.
I love this. This is one thing I talk about when I do master classes is temperature of drinks and how important it is and how you can affect them. It might be nice to serve it in a coupe with a big
with another rock.
With that rock there,
the super cold one.
Or no, one of the tempered ones, but just a rock in the middle of the glass would be sweet.
Like this guy. Tempered one. I'll put in the untempered one. It'll be fine.
Do you want me to warm up?
No, it'll be alright. We'll get this so cold that let's hope it doesn't crack based on the fact that what we're pouring into it isn't.
That knife's an absolute joke here. Where'd you get that from? Can I see?
Japan.
Oh, you're killing. My mate Boris would absolutely fucking. You know Boris?
Boris.
Absolutely love this.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Look, we want to see a cool one?
Whoa.
Watch this. And look.
Do you ever have to sharpen this?
Yeah, I sharpen them all the time. This one is actually a Hattori knife.
Whoa.
You know Hattori Hanzo? Yeah, exactly. Similar name.
Kill.
You must have big alarm. You need Hattori Hanzo still.
I once got a brand to pay for a Japanese samurai Hattori Hanzo knife
Just
above the bar. Yeah.
Oh, the katana, like a Kill Bill sword. Yeah, for Sabraj.
No, it
That
wasn't.
would have been a good excuse.
It wasn't, no. It's just because
was
we used to do a wine on the menu called Kung Fu Girl.
Oh, I know Kung Fu Girl. Sauvignon Blanc, right?
No, Riesling. Kung Fu
It's a
Girl. I think
Riesling.
they do Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay. No, they sell it at Bam Bam. I think it's Vietnamese place down the road. Yeah. We love it. Kung Fu Girl's really good. Yeah, super yummy.
And I said, we'll pour with that Riesling if you do as a Kill Bill sort, and the guys did.
Wow.
Yeah, I want a Kill Bill sword for in here. I want to give people
To be honest, I think it's the one thing that the cabin's missing.
I have this one. That's for Sabraj.
Nice.
You didn't see that? See, look, if you look at all these guys. These are all people that came to the cabin.
I did that for the first time ever this year, actually.
Really?
Yeah, first time ever. One of the guys, John at Dead Canary in Cardiff, showed me how to do it.
We had a bunch of Italians in here the other night, and they were doing it with all sorts of things. Their watches, their phones, glasses, mate. Yeah.
Apparently, you got to go down the seam of the bottle. You know
That's
that.
it, yeah.
That's the key, right?
That's the key.
We'll be doing a video on it.
We're gonna do a video on it, but
Be a good demo.
but the reason, get this. You know what? Can I tell you? What I want to do is I want to get a champagne bottle, right, and then this, and hold little white gloves or whatever, and have a white background or black background, and have like, you think your Shaolin sword can defeat me? It's so the Shaolin and the Wu-Tang would be dangerous. And then like, ching, 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 ching. And then it's like cuts to how to do Sabraj.
That's fucking
That'd
class.
be so good. But then cut to liquid swords.
That's Logic, right? That fucking track.
No, that's Wu-Tang.
Yeah, Wu-Tang, but
But
Logic's
Logic,
done a...
have you heard that Wu-Tang Forever?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
absolute
showed Dean
track,
that song.
mate.
And Wu-Tang is back
You
on...
try it first, brother.
Oh,
Dude, Wu-Tang got back on the charts
Yeah.
because of Logic's
Oh, really?
song. And Wu-Tang put out a post on their Instagram being like...
Good, eh?
dude.
Yeah, good, right?
Wu-Tang was like, first time we're out back on the charts thanks to Logic. And Logic's like, I make music because of you guys, thank you. It was so cool.
That's amazing.
Man, Marco,
That's decent,
Yeah,
right?
good.
when your super taste buds are gonna fucking love this. That's really good. I used to work in a bar that had a white chocolate and chili martini on it, on the menu. And I'm not joking, it was just, is this a white chocolate liqueur? Yeah, exactly.
Cacao, yeah.
So it was vodka, white creme de cacao, and a slice. You just take this tiniest slice of chili. You just take the tiniest slice of chili, and you stir it in.
Yeah.
And honestly, the tiny bit of heat
Yeah.
made it amazing. And obviously, people
Chili and
about
chocolate, right?
2003 were just like, white chocolate and chili martini, meh. And then I just kind of buried that. But you gave that to guests, and they lost their fucking mind. Espresso bean flavor without the ridiculous kind of. Oh, that's really good. I like that. Also, have you ever had a Paris Hilton?
No, unfortunately not. No.
Want to know what a Paris Hilton
love
martini
to,
is? That,
Yeah.
but with pearl dust in it. That's how old school I am. Yeah, so you take pearl dust and you mix it in. You put it's vodka with white creme de cacao without the chili, obviously. And you put pearl dust in it and you mix it through. And when you strain it out, it's iridescent. So like, if you could get coloured pearl dust, oh my god.
No, man, so funny you said this, but me and one of the girls that works for a distributor, a UK distributor, Jenny, she fucking loves unicorns. And the girls like my little, she's my fucking adopted little sister, and we went through this spell this year when we were like trying to get as tenuous possible links to the brand as we possibly could to throw parties, and one of the ones
As tenuous link.
as tenuous a link as possible to the brand, so we could throw a party. So we threw one at HMSS in Bristol, great bar, as a unicorn party.
Okay.
Because unicorn and glitter, glitter and rainbow party, because this is shiny and
Yep, that's enough.
unicorns and exactly
it
that's
work.
tenuous enough, right? And one of the things we did was buy this stuff you're talking about, like unicorn.
Pearl dust.
Yeah, so you mix it in and it makes it kind of
All glittery, yeah.
like a lava lamp.
Yep, that's it.
But shiny too.
But
So
that
unicorn-
with this,
unicorn blood.
mate,
Mate, that'd be killer, yeah.
honestly, that with this, Paris Hilton martinis, we won't we'll take this one out and put the glitter in.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was so much fun doing that because guests, I'm really sorry, man, but everyone's 18 at some point.
shit, yeah.
Like like right now, I'm old, right? So I was 18, almost 18 years ago. Oh no, more than 18 years ago.
You
Wait,
were going to say we're old and we are old.
oh no, almost 18 years ago. 37.
No.
Dude, you passed it.
More than 18 years ago, I was 18. Now, the thing is, right, if you and I, right, did a party, right, and I'm totally up for this, where we just do the most disco drinks we possibly can, right, and we bring this with us, and we make the Paris Hilton, but we'll call it unicorn horn, right?
Unicorn horn.
Yeah, because the ground down unicorn horn makes the sparkles. And then do that, right?
That's the light and upgrade you're talking about, right? Well,
No, that's old. I've had that.
That's been
You just don't remember it. And we could make diamonds and flash it through the diamonds.
mate, I'm so keen for that.
It'd be cool.
We'll get Reese from Edinburgh Ice Co to make some like fucking glitter ice and stuff as well.
But if we can get a design inside the ice or etched into it, the unicorn's inside the ice.
I'm
So if you had a unicorn diamond with a unicorn's head, and then the spot. Oh, mate, love this shit.
let's spend most of the UK budget for Crystal Head on that. That'd be class.
Why would you need to spend loads of budget on it?
Buy real unicorns and stuff.
Oh yeah, catching unicorns is really expensive, right?
It's been tough.
Did you try it?
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah, that was good.
Awesome.
Too much coffee in it.
The thing is,
It come up really nice.
like every time I try a drink on this show, I'm like, it's fucking amazing, but they actually are.
Yeah, they actually are.
Awesome job.
We need to get someone in who makes really shit drinks,
Mediocre drink.
and then we'll just be like, ugh.
No, I got help from the guys at Crucible for this 100%. But I was putting it through.
You got hell from them?
No, I was
Help.
at Crucible when I came up with this drink because I was putting it through.
Great call.
I was putting through putting coffee and cacao through a Rotive app, and then I thought, fuck, why don't we try that secret machine that we're in? That's delicious.
This Peroni's fucking delicious, man. Like, wait, can I?
Go another spill.
Can someone from Peroni please
Send
give
it
it one more
orders.
year?
Yeah.
Like, just one more year.
I'll do ambassador stuff for free.
Well, send us the recipe since you're not going to use it. Do you want another one?
Yeah, please, brother.
Man, that's amazing. So obviously that's about a 50-minute episode, but that's been really fucking tasty. And I think to close out, oh, dude. You know what might be?
You have it.
No.
You have it. 100% you have it.
No.
I'll have it.
At Dean Callan Show, we're all about the guests. And
You think it will take so good?
and sound effects.
Thanks, man.
Where's your
Yeah, Marco cleared it because he was doing his perfectionist thing.
yeah, Marco? Why you do such things?
I've got one.
You got one?
Yeah, I got it back. Bro, here. We'll have.
Really?
I insist.
Really? We'll have the last one that we know of in the country together as a team. Marco, do you want to taste this?
Yeah, I'll try that.
Taste it, because then you know what it tasted like and you can bitch to Peroni for decades. I plan to bartend or be in the bar industry for another 50 years, so Peroni, get ready.
So good. Why would you
Alright.
discontinue that?
This is...
Fuck! Do you know, but it does taste like a little bit shandy-ish. It's got a bit of a sweetness to it that I love.
Who cares?
No, I love it.
I fucking love it.
It's got a nice cola kind of heart to it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Like a good cola heart to it. Yeah.
Cola. Fuck.
Yeah. Cheers, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Sign it out. You know you didn't say good morning, ladies and gentlemen, for this one.
I didn't.
First video ever.
Good morning.
Oh, it's busy doing stuff. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dean Callan Show. This is the first time I've ever forgotten to say good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dean Callan Show, and you're seeing the end of the video at the beginning.
Boy, every day is the weekend. I'm a bait mobster, trendsetter, wave monster. Roof Chris scamming and I